Hey guys, today we're going to do 4 or 5 quadratic equations. Our objectives, we'll be able to solve quadratic equations by factoring, and we'll be able to solve quadratic equations by graphing. The essential understanding to find the zeros of a quadratic function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. We need to solve the related quadratic equation, where 0 is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So what this means is we are looking for zeros of the function. And the zeros of the function is where we cross our x-axis, which means y is equal to 0, which then means we have f of x is equal to 0. So where we cross our x-axis is when y is equal to 0 is our solution to our quadratic equation. We also know our zero products property. We know that anything times 0 is equal to 0. So if a was 0, then it would be 0 times b, which is equal to 0. Or if b was 0, a times 0 is equal to 0. So if we have a product, which means multiplication between two factors, if one of them is equal to 0, then the entire equation will be equal to 0. Solving a quadratic equation by factoring. What are the solutions of the quadratic equation? We have our quadratic equation. We know that it's equal to 0. What we need to do is factor. We're equal to 0. We need to factor and set each factor equal to 0. So we're going to factor x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So I'm equal to 0, check. I factor my left side with triangles 6, negative 6, and 1. Multiplies, I'm lying to you, does not multiply to positive 6. We need to multiply to positive 6, add to negative 5, so that's a negative 3, and negative 2 multiplies to positive 6, adds to negative 5. So there I have x minus 3 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. Since I now have a product, I can set each of these factors equal to 0. So I could do x minus 3 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. I add 2, solve for x on both sides. X equals 2, and x equals 3. Therefore, I have two solutions. I have x equals 3 and x equals 2. This makes sense to us because I'm thinking that this is a parabola opening upward, and my vertex would be negative b over 2a, which is 5 over 4, 5/4, and I plug that in. And I'm going to be opening down here. What are the solutions of the quadratic equation? X squared minus 7x is equal to negative 12. Step 1, make it equal to 0. Make sure your equation is equal to 0, so I add 12 on both sides. And I get x squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. Now that I'm equal to 0, I can factor. What multiplies to 12 and adds to negative 7, negative 4, negative 3. X minus 4 times x minus 3 is equal to 0. 0 product property. Product tells me one factor is equal to 0. Then my entire side would be equal to 0. So x equals 4. X minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 on both sides. X equals 3. So I have two solutions once again. X equals 4 and x equals 3. You guys try this one. Remember difference of squares here. If I have a squared minus b squared, this is equal to a plus b times a minus b. See you tomorrow.